Hi, this is Eli Kranzberg from Production Expert, and in this video we're going to look at an interesting way of using the Revoice Pro doubler function to thicken and fatten up a vocal. Let's listen to what we're starting with.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away everything we thought we had. I hope to sit and stay, 'cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love, and upside down became the everything I'm dreaming of. And now you just pretend that I'm a girl you didn't know, and speak of me as if we kept it on the down low. Still you won't let go.
All right, I want to clean this vocal up a little bit first before we move on to the doubling. I'm going to go to full screen for the vocal track and hit W to convert it to a warp region, and I want to simply tune it all at once. So I'm going to hit Alt or Option W, and you can see everything just snapped into the perfect center of each of the note pitches. Now, I deliberately didn't use a scale to quantize it to because the melody is moving around between different keys and chords throughout this phrase. So let's listen and make sure everything's okay.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away everything we thought we had. I hope to sit and stay, 'cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love.
Okay, this word guy, I think I quantized it to the wrong pitch. I'm going to drag it up and hold Option to snap it to the next semitone. Let's hear that.
'Cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love.
All right, and while we're here, I'm going to hit Option Shift W to smooth join all the notes. And there we see that the transitions were smoothed. So let's continue listening.
'Cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love, and upside down became the everything I'm dreaming of. And now you just pretend that I'm a girl you didn't know, and speak of me as if we kept it on the down low. Still you won't let go.
Good. Now, one thing that concerns me is these last two notes are a lot louder than the rest of the phrase, and with the doubling that we're going to do, they might be a bit overpowering. So I'm going to alter the level of these, and maybe some other peaks while we're at it. So I'm going to hit S to change the view, and we switched here to a dB view instead of the pitch view, so we can view the energy of the tracks. And I can just grab areas like that and drag it down to lower the volume. And you can see the graphic updating to reflect the change. And I can hold down Option to move in even 3 dB increments. There's a 6 dB reduction. I think that's a little much. I'm going to hit Undo, and we'll try 3. I'm going to go a little bit more. Good. So let's just look at the file real quick. I'm going to zoom a little bit from the beginning and see if there's any peaks we need to pull down.
Can't believe that we just came this far to throw away.
So way over there, I'm just going to pull that down. I'm going to hit Y, and that's going to set up my loop points to play back that area. Good, so that works nicely. Just going to get rid of that and keep going. I can lower that one. I'm just going by kind of eye and ear here, just looking at these peaks. This one's jumping out a bit too. And let's listen.
Everything we thought we had, I hope to sit and stay, 'cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love, and upside down became the everything I'm dreaming of. And now you just...
All right, let's bring that down a bit. I'm going to grab both of these, maybe all of these, and bring them down a bit. And again, I'll hit Y so we can hear it.
Now you just pretend that I'm...
All right, get rid of that. Let's continue. And you'll notice that you can always see the red energy trace showing the original volume level before it's been altered.
Now you just pretend that I'm a girl you didn't know, and speak of me as if we kept it on the down low. Still you won't let go.
Doing these kinds of adjustments is kind of like a manual compression. And one really nice benefit of doing this is that if you're going to be running your vocal through a nice compressor in the mix later, you're going to ensure that you're going to get a more even level entering the compressor, hitting the sweet spot and getting more of whatever character your compressor is going to add. Let's go back to our regular view here. And I'm going to hit B to bring up the new process window. And I have doubler chosen here, but we can select it there if it's not up by default. And I'm going to start by creating a vocal mild doubling track. And I'm going to use this bridge lead vocal, that's what the track is called, as my input. And I'm going to set the output to automatic, so it'll automatically generate a track for me. So let's hit new process. And there it is. So let's listen. I'm going to go back to the beginning.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away. Everything we thought we had, I hope this is to stay.
All right, that's sounding great. And you'll notice that the new double track inherited the same volume offset as the original, which is nice. I'm going to lower this one a little bit more so it can blend in. And let's continue listening.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away. Everything we thought we had, I hope this is to stay. Cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love.
All right, so that's a nice kind of bread and butter, vanilla sounding mono doubling effect. I can pan it, I can do what I want, and it's great. Let's try something else. I'm going to create a new track, and I'm going to call this stereo double. And now I'm going to use this same input track, but instead of creating a mono, I'm going to create a stereo. Let's use loose timing, a stereo output track, and it's already set here to the new one I created. And there it is. I just need to hit new process, and we're good. So let's listen to that. And since I created it from scratch, the volume is at 0. So let's pull it down a little bit so we can really hear it blending in. And let's see what that sounds like.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away. Everything we thought we had, I hope this is to stay.
All right, that's nice. Nice wide, thick effect. Let's see how the end of the phrase sounds with these volume adjustments that we made on the last couple of notes. I'll start it from here.
You won't let go.
Great. Now, another thing we can do to kind of give this a little bit more personality and differentiate it a little bit, I'm just going to select it, is bring up the settings. I hit P to bring up the stereo doubler settings, and we can adjust the two different channels separately. For example, maybe I want to shift the formants down. This is channel 2 right now. I want to get them kind of lower, and we'll see this updating in real time. And if we go to channel 1, we see we have different settings. I'm going to lower those as well, maybe a different amount. And I can, of course, adjust some of the other values as well. I don't want too deep a modulation, but maybe at a different frequency. And let's listen to that. I'm going to just solo it.
You won't let go.
So that's great. We got a kind of darker timbre as a result of the formants. I'm going to shift this one a bit more. Let's go more dramatic. And go to the beginning.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away. Everything we thought we had, I hope this is to stay.
Great. So let's listen to our tuned and volume adjusted vocal.
I can't believe that we just came this far to throw away. Everything we thought we had, I hope this is to stay. Cause you turned out to be the guy that I would never love.
And the new version.
Upside down became the everything I'm dreaming of. And now you just pretend that I'm a girl you didn't know. And speak of me as if we kept it on the down low. Still, you won't let go.
So there you have an interesting thickening and fattening effect with a lot of character via the mono and stereo doubling in Revoice Pro and some formant shifting and modulation. This is Eli Kransberg for Production Expert.